Invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. You bow your head with me as we open with prayer. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be of service to our citizens and also to you. Father, give us the discernment to make those decisions that best reflect the will of our community and what is best and what is right. We pray in Jesus' name, amen. Going through the agenda, our first item of business is approval of the April 18th minutes from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Has the Commission had a chance to read the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes as written.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the April 18th, 2019 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The next four items on the agenda call for a public hearing, discussion, another public hearing, another discussion on a 3-acre tract of property. We have received this afternoon a request from the individuals requesting this that it be pulled from the agenda. So what that means is there will be no public hearing because they have rescinded their application. Now, I know a lot of you have come here to voice an opinion regarding that situation, and the Commission will let you voice your opinions if you so wish, but it cannot be from a minute standpoint. It's, if you guys want to say something regarding to it, that's fine, but since they have requested we pull the request be pulled, there is no public hearing concerning those 3 acres. So if you would like to address the Commission concerning that, either pro or con, we will be able to listen. If not, we will go on to the next item on our agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better? I'm sorry. What I said was that the agenda states the first 4 items concerning the future land use map and changing a zoning request to commercial down on 550 and Cattle Barren. The applicant has requested it be pulled from the agenda, which means that since it has been pulled from the agenda, there is no public hearing concerning it. But I know a lot of the folks who here have come to speak, and so the Commission will allow you to address us if you so wish, but no action can be taken since there is theoretically no request. Yes, sir. Please step to the mic and.
What people will be able to provide input when there is a hearing. This is like our only chance.
Yes, if they refile, it'll be reposted, and the same procedures will be taken as have been now. Okay. So if nobody wishes to address the Commission, we will go on then with the next agenda item. Thank you for attending.
do this. Good evening. My name's Janice Nolly. I live at 500 High Water Crossing, which is the backyard where they want to make the commercial. My husband and I would have not purchased that property a year and a half ago if we had not been lied to by Altura Homes. I moved here from the colony in hopes to find a community that I could live and not look out my back door and have a building. I think this would be a very bad decision for the community and for the property value. We have invested in our home on the presumption that this was going to stay agricultural. We have just built a detached garage, and we were going to live out our days in this home. And basically, that's it in a nutshell. I don't think this would be right for the community. I don't think this would be right. There are plenty of places on 205 to build a building. Altura already has an office building on 205. Why is this particular place have to be commercial? Why can't we make this still a community? I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just step up and say your name and address, please.
I'm Valerie Bodart. I'm the HOA president for Chisholm Crossing Phase 4, and I live on Cattle Barren. What she said is exactly, I think, how most of the homeowners in our neighborhood feel. And a lot of us are feeling like we're being duped. When Altura approached me through our property management in January, approached me and the board, and wanted to know what we wanted from them when they decided to build their office building. They brought me a picture, they brought me, you know, the plat and everything, and wanted a list of our wants from them. And then listening to the rest of the politics that are going on in this community, it's really got me totally concerned about this. It seems like they're playing us to get what they want, because I was told that if we submit our desires for improvements or upgrades or whatever to that area, that would say that we support them in this endeavor. So we have not submitted any list to them. We have come up with ideas in case it does, you know, work out to our advantage. But there are so many things about this plan of theirs that is not, it is not good for our neighborhood. Just like she said, her property backs up to these two lots that they have. And we had to, in that meeting that I had in January, ask them, how are you going to separate your parking lot from their yards? And their original plan was to have their exit and entrance to that area, to that parking lot on Cattle Barren, which is not, I right there stopped that and said that you cannot do that, because that is our street and we are responsible for that maintenance and upkeep. So they did come back and say that they did get permission from the Department of Transportation to have their entrance and exit off of 550, sorry. So, but still, with everything going on, I don't know that I can believe them on that. And so I just wanted to let you know that we are being very vigilant about this, and we will be watching, and the next meeting that they decide to come to, we will attend. Thank you.
Thank you as well, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Candace Vaughn. I live at 303 Pioneer Court. I just have a question. How many times can they continue to attempt or apply to make this change? This is twice, and we have kind of always come in and it always gets pulled. They never show up. Nothing ever gets done. So we never actually get they never get told no. They just walk away as we are trying to fight them. So how many times?
Coker, would you please?
I can answer that question. I'm Mike Coker. I'm the city planner till the end of the month. The question is, how many times can anybody, let's say Altura in this case, request a change in zoning on the subject property? And they can ask as often as they want to pay for it until the city plan commission or the city council makes a decision. And once there's a decision, whether it's for, against, for, or with conditions, they have to wait a minimum of a year before they can make the next application. What has happened in this case, last year they applied, it was advertised, they withdrew. This time they applied, it was advertised, and they withdrew. And I think the reason that they've withdrawn this time is the same as last time. There was pretty substantial neighborhood opposition. So they can apply as often as they want to pay for it. But once the council, generally the council makes a decision, then they have to wait a year, whether it's for it or against it. But they keep withdrawing like this, they can just, as long as they pay the fee, they can continue to do it. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Richard Rogers. I live at 504 High Water Crossing. I can't add much more to what they've already said, other than the fact I've been there 4 years, a little over about 4.5 years. And when we bought that house, that was sold at a premium. And it was sold that there was never going to be anything back there. We paid extra for those lots. And I'm the third house down, they're the first house. So it's not as much on mine, but it's in my backyard also. And again, we're I guess still the newest community, I guess, of a lot of them. And we have our own struggles, but I tell you, this is one thing that has kind of galvanized the whole community. And I mean, I think would just be stronger in our attempt to, keep this from happening. So, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Philip Nolly. I'm at 500 High Water Crossing. My property literally backs up to the plan. That is a floodplain. You put something there, that excess water is going to go into my backyard, into my septic system, and overflow it. You're going to have raw sewage flowing around that field. Is that what you want? Is that the way you want to treat your citizens? That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Scott Turnbull, 1117 Newkirk Court. I would urge the P&Z Commission to consider asking the City Council to do a land swap for the acreage immediately across the street from the building here that is already zoned Office 1 for the acreage that Altura has presented twice and pulled twice to be used as commercial. It would help the citizens that live in that community. It is possible, and I may get things thrown at the back of my head when I say this, it would be one of the better locations for the future fire department building. Now, I don't know if they want a fire department out their back door or not, so like I said, please don't throw things at me. But if it can't be used for that, it could be used as a green space, a permanent green space for the city. And additionally, the Economic Development Committee and you folks in the City Council have not done the future land use map, the changes to it that everybody's been talking about for months. They haven't decided where they want to put the commercial area. So moving ahead with this now or at any time in the future would be a mistake. I think there is a better location for this building than where it's currently being requested. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adrian Balcom, 1518 Forensic Court. So, good evening, Chairperson and Commissioners. The population growth estimated in the comprehensive plan expected to reach as many as 2,362 by year 2020. We are currently past that estimation. I know this based on my own knowledge from residential data for the newsletter publishing and the citizen surveys. The Commission and the City Council is in a position where we can control growth. Remember, the comprehensive plan was created by a handful of people. The former P&Z chairperson was Jay Webb, who was not a tax-paying citizen at that time. He is related to Justin Webb, the president of Altura Homes, as well as another name of James B. Webb, president of Oak National Holdings. Even the city planner shared how, in the future of reviewing the comprehensive plan, it would be best to include input from the citizenry. All the city planners and city engineers that the City Council interviewed all supported the citizen survey and even incorporated the past surveys in their presentations to solicit their services to the City Council. That was just a couple months ago. So the citizen survey speaks volumes of input of hundreds of citizen responses who took the time to share their input. So even in your planning and zoning brief, if you notice, there was a recommendation. It said it appears consistent with the spirit of the standards established from the comprehensive plan. So please consider the source and let's do the job of representing all citizenry. We need to value their input by acknowledging that the people want to see a centralized business district on Highway 205. I appreciate what Mr. Wintters did by taking the time to do the application and providing those documents to be reviewed. It's a beautiful design. It's similar to one off of 205. And I am also still analyzing the 2018-2019 citizen survey. But here are some highlights from the results that you may find on page 29 in the second citizen survey out of 471 respondents that answered this question. When it comes to the locations inside our city limits, future businesses should be, and 34% said contained along a centralized portion of the frontage of State Highway 205, 26% answered contained inside a centralized business district, 18% contained along a centralized portion of the frontage of FN 550 near the City Hall building, 10% allowed anywhere along the entire frontage road of State Highway 205, 3% allowed anywhere along the entire frontage of FN 550. In the first citizen survey, there is support for more business and commercial development that suggested 56%, but it was more for it to be controlled. So let's get back to the numbers and the respondents' results, that people who actually took the time to take those citizen surveys and give their input. And so utilizing these tools to make the best decision and recommendation also to the City Council. And we all know that there's much more improvement needed, just as former Mayor Scott Turnbull, former Mayor Pro Tem Scott Turnbull, it's like a tongue twister, that he mentioned about the comprehensive plan. The land use map and other related items need to be reviewed along with our city planner. So there's a lot of work ahead of you to facilitate future citizen summits by taking the time now to wait for a new and improved guide for future development. Seems would be the best approach. So in the future, we need to make sure that we're asking the right questions. Of course, you guys do the due diligence of asking questions, but notice that we've had several residents that lived in Chisholm Crossing. They're speaking up, and it's awesome that they're coming out here. And I think it was 2 other times, right, that they've come out here past applications, and so they're standing up and saying something. So thank you for listening to them and opening that public hearing. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you all very much. Let's see. Moving down the agenda. Okay. We will. The next item of agenda is a public hearing. The Planning and Zoning Commission will receive input regarding the request of C&G Ros Development LLC seeking approval of a preliminary plat for Rosini Vineyards Addition, Tract 63-2, 25 acres, also described as 411 State Highway 205. That public hearing is now open. Does anybody wish to speak to
Scott Turnbull, 1117 Newkirk Court. I encourage you to accept the plat and to allow the Rosinis to move ahead. I had the privilege of working with them the last 2 years, and they've been very accommodating. They've done everything that we've asked to be good citizens, so my recommendation is to accept the request. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turnbull. Would the applicant like to say anything?
I'm Greg Rosini. I live at 3095 Windcrest Drive, just outside of McLendon-Chisholm. Carol and my wife Carol is here today. I was submitting our plat for review and are excited to get our project moving. So if there's any questions we can answer in the review, we'd be happy to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no further comments or questions from the audience, the public hearing is now closed. The next item on the agenda is discussion and action regarding a request by C&G Ros Development LLC seeking approval of a preliminary plat for Rosini Vineyards Addition, Tract 63-2, 25 acres, also described as 411 State Highway 205.
I just wanted some clarification, Mr. Coker. The only thing that was in our package that we received before tonight was the plat that split it into two parcels.
Correct.
And then when we got here tonight, it had, I think, what's the engineering. So what are we approving? Because I didn't have a chance to review the engineering before I sat down tonight. So I just want to be clear what we're moving forward. Is it the preliminary engineering and we'll see that again to approve, or what are we looking at and what are we?
You're looking at the plat.
Okay, so just the split of it into two parcels.
That's correct. And we got the report from the engineer, and they've asked for some additional information. We've got a report from the city engineer asking for some additional information. It's basically text changes related to the text on the plat. The geography and the easements are all correct. So you're acting on the preliminary plat today, and the final engineering will be coming back through for you to consider along with their site plan. Any other questions, commissioners?
Okay. Just as information, under the staff review and recommendation, says I reviewed the final plat and the preliminary civil engineering and find that they are consistent with the comprehensive plan, the zoning ordinance, and the requirements of the subdivision regulations for the subject property. Recommends that planning and zoning approve the preliminary plat subject to the conditions listed in the report. These are the conditions. Prior to issuance of any authorization for construction of infrastructure, drainage, or structures, the final civil engineering plans be reviewed and approved by the city engineer. Provide written verification from TxDOT of approval of the location and design of a shared access driveway prior to the issuance of any permit for construction on the subject property. Do I have a motion on this particular item? If be sure that the motion includes the conditions.
I move we approve the plat as presented, subject to the conditions as written.
A motion has been made that we approve the plat request, and considering the conditions as have been stated. Is there a second?
I second.
A motion has been made and second that we approve the plat with the conditions as recommended by staff. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? No. Motion carried unanimously, all ayes.
Mr. Chair, if I may add a comment here. The commission just made a recommendation for approval to the city council, and it'll be coming to the city council on the 28th. So it'll be heard by the city council at the next regularly scheduled city council meeting on the 28th.
Thank you, Mr. Coker. That's standard procedure for anything that we approve or deny, that city council then has the opportunity. That is all of the items on our agenda for this evening, unless anybody has anything else to come before the Planning and Zoning Commission. If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I move we adjourn.
Second? Yes. All in favor of the meeting adjourned, please say aye. Aye. Good night, folks.
Mr. Chair, and members of the audience, this is my last planning and zoning